All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll do a roll call
Commissioner Nelson,
here.
Commissioner Ralston,
Here.
Commissioner Cooper,
Here.
Commissioner McGlynn,
Here.
Commissioner Donahue, City Manager Houseman. Here. Commissioner Paulson Weston. Here. And I do not see Chamber Director Shauna Wesley yet. Do we know if she'll be attending?
She had indicated that she would be, so
Okay.
maybe we'll watch for her on the Zoom or we'll.
Thank you. And Councilperson Johnson.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. We'll move into new business. We have the minutes for the previous meeting for August 5th. Chance to review. Looking for a motion to approve.
I move to approve minutes of the Economic Development Commission meeting on Monday, August 5th, 2024.
John, can you turn your microphone on? I'm sorry. You're gonna have to turn it on in the back there. And then hit the button to make it green. There you go. Thank you.
So I move to approve the minutes of the Economic Development Commission meeting held Monday, August 5th, 2024.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
We have a second. Any other conversation, corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right. City Manager Houseman, talk about Boost for Healthcare.
Yes, so we are partnering, the city and the Chamber of Commerce is partnering with UW Whitewater on a new city pitch competition program. So I think it's great that we have some representation from the high school here today too. So we can get people thinking about their kind of entrepreneurial spirit here. So I'm gonna share the screen. This is a presentation from the folks at Enactus at UW Whitewater. So it's not my presentation, so you'll just have to bear with me a little bit on some of these things. We'll run through it and I'll talk a little bit more about the program, and Choten will be making this more formal presentation to the City Council on the 7th of November. So please come back if I don't provide enough information. So this kind of starts with what is one business that people would love to see in Fort Atkinson, and we're referring to the downtown area. We're trying to get people thinking about what they'd like to do to see here that they would utilize. So we are looking at, downtown revitalization and how we can put, create a new business in an empty storefront in our community. This is a program that's been run a few times before. Last year it was run through for the city of Whitewater. It was called Wind Up Whitewater. So that is, this is kind of the same model with the Enactus group. So this is Enactus is folks from UW Whitewater. It stands for Entrepreneurial Action for Us. Great group of people. It's a great professor, Choten Basu, and then his students who are part of this program. That is a picture of them. Again, it's our a vacant downtown retail or commercial space. This is not in Fort Atkinson, obviously, but Shauna, Chamber of Commerce Director, who is here now, has been working with Choten and some downtown business owner or downtown property owners to come up with a good space for this. Okay. And a lot of this is based on Quint Studer and his book and some of his philosophy, I guess, in rebuilding downtowns. Let's see here. So originally they did this in Janesville, even though I think this is the bodacious shops that are in Pensacola, Florida. But there's another slide that has a picture of the bodacious shops in Janesville, if anybody's familiar with that location down on Main Street. this is that picture. So this is in Janesville. This used to be a bar, and I'm actually not even sure what else used to be there, but for the last 10 or 12 years, it's been this bodacious block. And this was Quinn Studer's program. They did a pitch competition, and the winning business plan would get a free year of rent in a downtown space. So that is what the goal of this program is. They were also very successful with a program in South Bend, Indiana that we're not going to watch the video, but that's another success story of this group. It is a partnership, as I mentioned, through Enactus. Also, the Fiscal and Economic Research Center and the Small Business Development Center are also partners in this. And what's really great about this is there will be community interaction. There'll be likely an app where people can vote on their favorite business plan or vote on on the first phase of what they want to see in the community. And anything that doesn't win gets to work with SBDC and see if they can make their business plan function in a different environment. So just because they don't win this competition and win the free month of rent in a downtown space, they are not out. And then FERC also, we can ask them to do an analysis of all of our the programs and what we are missing to identify gaps in services or gaps in certain downtown, not just downtown, but gaps in the businesses that are providing services in the city of Fort Atkinson. So as I mentioned, they did it in Whitewater last year as Whitewater Wind Up. We're calling it Boost Fort Atkinson, a business competition. We're very excited. This kind of all came together within the last couple of weeks, so you'll forgive my my kind of elementary understanding of the whole program. But so they do the launch. We are expecting to do the launch officially after our November 7th City Council meeting. Once there will be workshops put on through UW Whitewater, and the entrepreneurs will be able to really put together their business plan using the expertise of the folks from UW Whitewater. And then there will be community voting. And then we'll have a panel of judges to review finalists and make a final decision. So it's going to be about a 4 to 6 month process. I would anticipate starting in November, starting in November.
Their goal is to have it finished by the end of March.
Can you turn on your microphone there, Sean?
I think it is, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the goal is to have it finished by the end of March.
By the end of March.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. So this was the Whitewater and Edgerton timeline here. We're going to we're not planning on doing the reverse pitch idea, which is really taking an existing business. But this is always something we can try again in the future, depending on how this first pitch program goes. So you can kind of see the timeline of how we would start. And then the proposed budget is for the city is $27,000 to $30,000. You can see where that comes in. I have applied for a grant through the Fort Atkinson Community Foundation for half of the cost of this program. And the other half we are proposing to pay for through the city gets room tax dollars in our Fund 8, which is our lodging room tax cityscape fund. We don't always spend all the money that goes into that fund. That the money has to be spent on tourism related items. But there is a fund balance from revenues exceeding expenditures for the last couple of years. So there's some money available in there that I intend to allocate in the 2025 budget for this competition for basically half of that cost, assuming that my application to the Fort Atkinson Community Foundation was good enough for a grant. But we'll see after. They will take action on that hopefully within the next week or two. So that is the slide deck. Shauna, do you have anything that you'd like to add? That I missed?
No, I think that was everything that really covers it. I feel really positive about this program, though. I have spent a great deal of time with Chotan, interviewing business, like building owners and things like that. And everyone that talks this through with him, it just feels like a really incredible opportunity. And there's so many success stories from other communities. I think it's really cool that they've asked to make it be part of our community. He also lives here in Fort Atkinson, so that's another reason that he feels really passionate about bringing this program here to Fort Atkinson.
Comment also to make. I think anything that we can do to promote and strengthen and bolster local business is a given. I'll counter that statement with the notion that, or the idea that it is not the duty of government to pick winners or losers in a free enterprise system. So on the one hand, magnificent, we're promoting. On the other hand, I don't want to get into a position of choosing winners and losers.
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments or feedback? All right. We'll move on to the item 3C. So we're going to go into closed session. And we need action to do so.
Yes.
So can I have a motion to take the Economic Development Commission into closed session?
I make that motion.
Thank you, Mark. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're gonna go into closed session. We're gonna bring the developer back in and whoever else is out there.
Yeah, that was a large group today.
Yeah.
Is that the students from Actus? Yeah, yeah.
Well, they're, the high school students.
Oh, yeah, they looked young to me. Oh, okay.
left.
Oh, they left.
Oh.
Required to stay for 45 minutes, but I can't imagine that they were gonna stay.
Yeah.
Probably got some.
Oh, wait, is it?
Yeah. That's a good idea to bring to the city council meeting. Yeah.
Easy.
You can see in this case.
Looks like we lost most of our, are you taking notes back there for everybody else? Okay, I'm sorry, I digress.
Oh, great. Tyler, I think there were some questions we had, so if you wouldn't mind joining the mic and making sure that it's on and.
Yeah, it
We'll
should be
have to group.
green.
Heard the instructions a couple times.
Okay.
We hear you have really good roots of being born here in Fort Atkinson.
I was, yeah. Can you hear me?
All right.
Check. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
All
I was born in Fort Atkinson. My mom and dad lived in a trailer down in Whitewater. My dad went to college in Whitewater, helped build Wells West. And I ended up living in Wells West, and I went to Whitewater. I got a finance degree and a real estate development degree out of there. So I'm familiar, with the area. I grew up in central Wisconsin, Adams Friendship. So, familiar. I can give you a little bit of background about us as a company, Wisconsin Development Partners. We own several companies. We own a manufacturing company in Racine. We own a services company that we service data centers nationally, electrical construction components. We build data centers. We've been doing real estate development for maybe 15 years. We bought about 15 acres on the southeast side of Madison in 2012. We've ended up putting roads through, developing a couple 100,000 square feet there. We've acquired, I think, a total about 500,000 square feet in the southeast side of Madison. And this last few months, we bought the last 14 acres on that side of town because there's a lot of demand for flex manufacturing type space distribution. And we've been partnering with Artisan Graham for about 8 to 10 years now. We just got involved in Lake Mills. We did sale leaseback for Horizon Manufacturing up there. So we bought all their properties. We did a 15-year lease back with them. And now we're currently doing about a 50,000 square foot expansion for them. So we're pretty nimble when it comes to construction, development, architecture, design, when, you know, for a specific projects, real estate projects. And when Jeff asked me to take a look at, you know, the Fort Atkinson project, we, you know, what we see is all this demand and activity going on in Jefferson County, some of the Kikoman stuff and some of these offshoot companies. And then maybe these RFPs that are floating around that cities need to respond to. But if you're an outside company looking in, starting that whole design, architecture, construction plan process could be 2-3 years. For us, we can do that in about 12 months. We can start design, get through all that stuff, start a building, finish it up in a year, year and a half. So the opportunity for us would be to shrink that opportunity, you know, the city's opportunity time, and be able to respond to these things to try and win them. And then we can either be retained as the landlord, own the asset, give them a 15-year lease, build it out to their specifications. We could just build it and sell it to them as a construction company. So for us entering this, it's not that I'm dying to go buy a bunch of land in Fort Atkinson. It's just that Jeff thinks we'd be a good fit for the process. And so when we met with Rebecca over a Zoom call, I told Jeff, well, we'd be willing to look at it. We came out, looked at the business park. And I said, you know, we could buy one of these lots, we'll just buy it. And then start putting designs on it, start marketing it and that kind of thing. We could do an option on these other lots. And we'd spend some architecture money. We'd spend some time and money on it, and then really go after some of these RFPs. Maybe we get a bigger RFP that we need to buy other lots and combine them together. But the whole basis of the offers and things like that we sent to you guys was just putting our skin in the game. And for your review, if you want us to come in and, you know, help work on the business park.
I guess I have a couple of questions. What type of business or industry? I actually own a business in that park. So I would welcome additional business.
Yeah.
But the consideration is, what type of business do you see being your anchor or coming into that first couple lots there?
Yeah, so lot one is, we've sort of just looked at the square footage and where the driveways come in, and you could put a square manufacturing or distribution facility with a lot of docks on one side, probably up to 150,000 square feet. So we would be looking to attract or you know, respond to some sort of RFP that would be anywhere from 50,000 to 150,000 square feet. And the other two lots at the entrance, I think they're 12 and 13, 11 and 12, 12 and 13.
12 and 13, yep.
Yeah. I've got something printed out here I can share with you, but we did a 90,000 square foot facility on sort of a rectangle lot right in Madison there. And we made it flexible from 8 to 12 to 40,000 square foot tenants. So it's like kind of retail in the front or office in the front with useful docks and overhead doors along the back. I can hand that out. I have maybe 8 or 9 of those. But that would be sort of a development project that we would invest in and hopefully start lining up those smaller incremental tenants. So I did ask Jeff, you know, what's the demand for shop space or, you know, an electrical outfit that needs to put their trucks in the back, have some offices, or just store equipment. You know, we've got anything in Madison from Red Bull with, you know, 30,000 square feet to the Diaper Bank, which is a nonprofit there. They store and distribute diapers all over town. So we would just be looking to see what lines up with the businesses here.
your idea is to basically build and hope they will come type thing?
Not necessarily, not interested to really do that and hope. You know, we just started looking at this 60 days ago. So, if we did put that design together, we would look to really check the market and see what happened. Or we could invest in it and do it in incremental stages. So a third at a time. You know, if we really got into the marketing process and had 0 tours, like we would have to ask ourselves, can we really put this up? The ability financially, we can do it. We could put it up. We could put a phased project together. We're not going to put up a 150,000 square foot manufacturing facility until we win an RFP or sign a lease or something like that. But we look at those 2 different lots sort of differently. The lot 1 is very good to aggressively go after some RFPs, some of these corporate out of state companies, and then the other longer lot, we would definitely get your feedback. Like, what do you think this area needs for, you know, growing businesses? And do you have an opinion on that? Like that smaller flex shop space that you can grow into?
I think it'd be a combination. I think you need to have an anchor, I think, you know, an anchor tenant of some kind, you know, and then build up around that. Our company is way in the back. I don't know if you've seen our company before, but we have, I think our building is around 70,000 square feet now. It's in the back.
I drove back through there,
right,
the bigger building.
We employ about 80 people.
Mm-hmm.
And our business is high-end pharmaceutical manufacturing for like pharmaceutical companies. So we employ engineering, welding, electrical technicians, that kind of thing. So any high-end type market like that, or any high-end business would certainly be welcome, you know. But it's been empty for so long, you know, it's, to me, any viable business is a good opportunity, so.
Right. Well, it seems like the county and the investment in the area, it's changing. We can see that up in Lake Mills, what's going on up there and what's going on in Jefferson. And so.
If I could jump in here real quick, Tyler, it's Deb Reinbold. I know we met back in January, so nice to see you again.
Yes, Deb.
Hi. So just wanted to add in here that when we first started talking back in January, I believe I had gone out to WEDC and asked them for an overview of the RFPs. Tyler, forgive me if my memory is wrong, but I thought that we shared that, and that was also part of this as you're looking to develop this. You know, going through and responding to these RFPs, there aren't a lot of existing vacant buildings in the area or buildings that can meet the timeline of these companies. A lot of the companies are looking for something they can move in right away. And so that's another huge benefit for the work that Tyler's doing here. Allows us to actually be competitive.
Yeah, if someone from out of state were to just start to think about hiring an architect and a builder and, you know, get on a construction timeline, you're thinking 3 to 5 years. And we can react pretty quickly. We can literally give some completion dates and provide, well, not only that, but you have to answer the RFP in a formal fashion. So we can quick do a design, we can quick calculate the construction costs, put a lease rate together so you can actually quote them a lease whenever their RFP is due. And so that right now, if you just have a for sale sign on a business park, is like, there's a lot of other things that need to, you know, happen. But yes, Deb, exactly.
Any other questions for Tyler?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could speak to why this land, right? What's your interest in particular with this land? I know you know, when you talk about Madison, it's pretty clear why, right? When you're in Madison, what drew you to this land in Fort Atkinson?
Well, as Jeff knows, we just bought one of the last remaining 14 acres in Southeast Madison, We're not doing stuff up in Sun Prairie or the west side or anything. We've just been developing that area. And there's quite a bit of demand, so we've got a couple 100,000 square feet of buildings that we're sort of designing up for that. And then there's nothing else to do over there. When we started working on Lake Mills a couple of years ago, like, this is great. This is kind of like our corridor over here. There's demand from Madison to Milwaukee to Chicago, that whole thing. Met with Deb last year. And we ended up doing that Lake Mills job. And these are what we see as open opportunities. We started looking at some of the RFP options, but we said, well, where do we go? We don't have any land locked up. I guess from a strategic perspective, it's nice to look outside Madison at this point. It's very tough to get things done there. We have to go through about 6 months of design and permitting and stuff before we can even start anything. So we just feel like it'd be nice to be starting to do things out here. We don't have to have more projects to work on. But when Jeff asked me if I wanted to take a look at this, it was interesting because we're doing Lake Mills. We think we can be successful here, and we think we could be successful over by Jefferson or in a combination of any of those. There's also demand on the southeast side of Madison where it's very expensive. Like, the leases that we have to quote people are over $10 a square foot triple net to put up a building down in there. And we can be really 30% less or something, down here for a lease. So I think there's going to be a little shift of activity that happens this way. But it's not like I was driving through Fort Atkinson and said, hey, Jeff, what's going on with that land?
I appreciate your honesty, and let's hope you're right that this can become a new hub.
Yeah.
Love that idea.
Do you see Jefferson County as a growth spot right now?
I do,
Okay.
based on my experience with Horizon up in Lake Mills and the employment base that they're attracting and they're serving. And they have they went from they have 3 shifts going right now. And we're trying to build fast enough so that they can have more capacity because of what's happening there. And they're able to find the workers. Meeting with Deb last year, it was apparent that the region is investing in housing to attract some of these workers, things like that, and the investment in the attracting these companies. I didn't hear about it 5-10 years ago, but it seems like there's some momentum there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we heard you've done data centers. Would this spot be open to that?
Yeah, so we've done data centers in Santa Clara, and Florida, and Texas, and we can build one anywhere. We have a data center in our building in Madison, like 10,000 square feet. You need to have connectivity, you need to have fiber to connect to it. We can bring power, we can build it, but you have to transmit data to and fro. So if you're close to the interstate, things like that, there's ways of connecting those things a little easier than it used to be. But yeah, if there was an RFP for a data center, and we would respond and then research those things.
So I'm sorry, I'm just going to throw in here real quick. My one hesitation on data centers is just the availability of electric capacity for the Clement Business Park, but that's something that we're having conversations with We Energies to try and encourage them to make those investments here. But I can also, to your question about whether Jefferson County is growing, I know that we've had conversations before, but I can also share that I've got 3 site visits this month. So it's very busy.
Yeah, when we site select for a data center, we will do that. We will look at proximity to substation, and we might say, hey, this building downtown over here is a better spot than out there at the business park, and probably would be most likely.
Any other questions for Tyler? All right. So we're at the place. Do we take action? Is there a motion, recommendation?
I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase, let's see, how should we word this, Rebecca? Help me.
So we're on 3D1.
Yes.
And we would be entertaining a motion to recommend that the city council approve the offer to purchase of lots 11, or excuse me, 12 and 13 in the Clement Business Park. And then there's a separate action item for a possible recommendation to the city council relating to the option to purchase lot 1 in the
So-
Clement
So we'll
Business
do them
Park.
as two motions?
Yes.
Okay,
two
so I'll do
action
the
items.
first motion then for lot 12 and 13, which is, yeah, as you described.
Okay, great.
I'll second.
Motion a second. Is there any questions, comments? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, it carries. So, taking up the question about the option to purchase lot 1, is there a motion similar to,
I make a motion to accept the option.
thank you, Mark. If there's a motion to make the recommendation to the city council for option on lot 1, is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any other comments, questions? All right, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, same sign? All right, it carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right,
It's like an update.
we're it. That's it. We're ready for adjournment. A motion to adjourn? All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Usually say vote with your feet.
Thank you all.
Thank you.